Yeah. Well.
You're around? Nathan? How are you, Margaret? So anybody want, I should go on one behind him.
Tom and Carol at the moment.
Anyone to rest on. Okay, so at 6 o'clock, we can start the study meeting. We're gonna begin with roll call. Is Linda on yet?
No.
You know, you're on.
Well, the other than
Okay.
no, okay.
But she is coming in.
I assume so.
That's good.
It's great.
Linda, can you hear us? Linda? You're muted. Can you hear us? She's waiting. Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're gonna get started. We're gonna begin with roll call. We have Morris. I don't see Ronnie. Look to on here. Do not see Amber. We have Linda. Is Ableton? No. Sorry? No, I don't guess. And we have Donna. Also in attendance is Tommy Pietro and Michael Hoffman. So just a couple of updates, not a lot of documents this evening. I did follow up with DOT regarding our request. They are still working on a response. We should have one in the next couple of weeks, so I will call again. Yes, I don't know how long it takes to say no, but anyway, I will call again next week. But I did have a good conversation with them. With regard to, informally, he was saying if it's a US route, which is the US 9 situation, by law, there's not much they can do about that. He was going to look at the other requests with regard to the 53-foot trucks. Again, if it's a 53-foot truck, legal truck on a US route, there's not much that we can do. But he suggested that we look at Wakens as an alternative if the infrastructure and the roads are such that they cannot support the weight of the trucks that are coming in. So I think that is something that we now need to go back to and look at. I believe I attached in the documents for reference, the memorandum that, Donna did some time back on weights. So I think that's something we should look at. I also, suggested to him that it would be very helpful if somebody from Kipsey came up and actually came into Hudson and looked at what we're talking about, we sent them a video, but I think having them come visit would be good. And he referenced somebody in another area that would be the appropriate person to do that, and said he would talk to her supervisor and see about having her come to Hudson for a site visit. So I think that's all positive. And I will follow up on that. Kind of related to that, I met today with Chief Franklin and went over with her the revised memorandum that we worked on, that we had presented to Chief Moore towards the end of the tenure. And I also gave her some maps, and I would like to talk about that a little bit, but in the course of that discussion, we also talked about weight limits. And we pulled up the code, which has not been updated in many, many years. It's very out of date. It has weight limits of 2.5 tons on, you know, a lot of streets, which is obviously not realistic. So I think we need to update the code and come up with rational weight limits by street. She was very open to the proposal that we have for changing the routes and defining the routes going away from the 1976 memo. Her next step is that she is going to meet with the commissioner and go over that, and I will meet with them to go through it if he has any questions. But to her, it looked like a reasonable approach to trying to alleviate some of this, and this is the through truck stuff that we're talking about. So we look at that momentarily. I also talked to her about enforcing speed limits, because I know we've had reported issues, particularly on Worth, of trucks coming in, they're coming off a 55-mile-an-hour route into Worth, and they're still at speed coming down Worth. And if we do develop a weight limit approach, or we change the route that we're going to have through the city, that enforcement is going to be important. So that we would have, even for a limited period of time, some enforcement so people get them out. Once we have established specific routes, you know, updating the 1976 memo, I believe the process is we will provide that information to DOT, who would then update GPS, so the truckers would not be getting directed onto routes that we do not want them directed onto. So I think I will be meeting with her again, but for now she has the document and she's going to be meeting with the commissioner. So I think what would be helpful would be to refresh our minds on the maps that we have come up with. So if you want to bring up the one that looks like that, so that's it. Any questions from anyone on DOT? Does it say that's it? Yeah. You're gonna have to do it. Okay. So you should all have received this on your documents. And the memorandum that goes, I numbered the segments correspond to what's in the memorandum. So the first one, number 1, Fairview Avenue South to Green, that actually comes down Fairview, turns on Green, and 1 continues all the way down to Dundas Street. You can see where that goes. So if you move your cursor over, yeah, right there. That's number 1 in the memorandum. Number 2 is Green to 23B. So if you go back up, again, that's yours up to 23. I need to add a segment of memorandum. That's number 10. I'll talk about that in a second. Number 3 takes you down, it's Columbia West to 3rd. So that takes you from that corner where Columbia meets, yeah, down to 3rd. And then number 4 turns left and goes out to the city line. That's 3rd, which becomes 23B. Then going back up into the center of town, number 5 is Park Place, which joins the Queen Street piece to Farm Street, that's number 5. Number 6 goes up Warren to Worth. Number 7 is Worth to the city limit. Okay, and then we switch to the next one, Michael. This addresses, at this 8 and 9 address, Colorado has access to the dock. So there is, Front Street, to Broad. So where that begins, where it says Basilica, that's pretty much at the end of Colorado private road. And then they need access on the front, and then Broad to, Water Street. Takes them down to the entry, and that little squiggly black line, which is not a road, that is their entrance into their dock. So that takes care of their access to the dock. The piece that has to be added on the other map, is number 10, which I omitted from the memorandum. That basically is when you come up, on up to 60, you can either go up, Fairview, or which is, let's see, number 2 takes you to 23B. There also needs to be a connecting one on 10, number 10, which takes you up 66 to exit. That I would like to remember. So this is what it looks like. Donna had been doing some work talking to some of the businesses down in the Dock Street area. So I want to stop now, so we're looking at this the first time in a few months. Do we have any questions? This is all about through driving. But I think that, you know, the intent would be that the trucks coming back from the dock would follow the route that they took to get to the dock, which is going to put us into that discussion of the private road, which is currently 1 lane. I'm sure we will have that discussion. We're waiting, you know, I've not reviewed this obviously with Colorado stuff. The first step is this what we think we want to bring forward to the full council? Any questions? Yeah.
So based on what I've learned in following up the businesses down on Dock Street and Lower 2nd Street, we may need to make a modification to the draft amendment. I'm not sure if they would be considered local deliveries or not. So if you want me to review what I found.
Yeah, let me just remember something. I made 5 copies.
There should be 2 of these. There should be 2, Margaret.
Yes, I know there are, okay, but my printer doesn't burn it. You want me to bring it up on the screen? You don't have it, just, Donna sent it to me. Okay, we have it on the screen.
Okay. So you want me to review what I found, Margaret?
Sure.
Okay. So, as a follow-up to our August meeting, a suggestion was made to contact the businesses down on Dock Street area and Lower 2nd Street to determine truck volume to and from their facilities. And so I did a Google search to identify the companies down in that area, and I found 4 companies. Hardy and Sons Tea, they're at 128 Second Street. EA Morse was at 5 Dock Street, but they no longer have an operation there. They're closed, and they were taken over by Craft Tech. Craft Tech is at 8 Dock Street and also 5 Dock Street, but most of their shipping comes from 8 Dock Street, and then Hudson Food Ventures, which used to be Town and Country. And that operation is not currently active, but I'm not sure what the target date is for that to begin. So with regard to Harney and Sons, the tea company, their main operation is in Millerton, New York. They have a 90,000 square foot facility there, about 40 miles south of Hudson. The Hudson operation is a small operation where they do bottling of iced tea. I think about 10 to 13 employees, and they distribute from there. So they have trucks coming there to pick up deliveries, and then they distribute nationally. The operations manager I talked to didn't have information on truck volume, daily or average weekly volume. He said it's seasonal. He said in the summer months, the warmer months, they do more business because there's more of a demand for iced tea. He said yesterday, for example, there were 4 trucks that came to do pickups. I asked about the size of the trucks, and he said it varies, different sizes, but typically 53 footers. So we're talking about Class 8 trucks. And he said that 95% of the trucks enter and leave the site. They come via 9G 23B, Columbia Street, Dock Street, to get to where they're located. Margaret, the map, if you could call up the other map.
I want to look at this map for a second. So I think we need to consider what Second Street looks like. Because an alternative to getting to these locations is to continue to come down and turn
There's
it back.
another company over there, the Craft Tech, did you talk about?
Craft Tech, yeah, they're at 8 Dock Street,
Okay.
yeah. They're on this map here with the orange and green highlight.
This here.
So, Craft Tech, I highlighted in orange. And you see where they are,
Here,
this little orange square.
is my screen showing?
And then the green square is, Hudson Food Ventures, that's at 7 Dock Street. So, second, I wondered, for them, it appears that they could go down Second Street.
They could all,
Unlikely because of the slope. Right.
No, Second Street is a big hill. Truck could come down, but the thing is they can go up. It's a very steep hill.
I think it's hard to get onto Second Street. You have to turn off of something. Right, you have to turn off.
you have to, if you take an alternative route here, you would have to turn right on Second from Columbia, which would then take you down to Empire State.
I don't think they can make that turn.
No,
That's-
yeah,
that's-
that's what
that's not-
California
that's not-
is.
Yeah, it's not an option.
So Craft Tech, that particular company, they manufacture plastic parts. And most of their distribution, is done via UPS and some by FedEx. And typically the UPS vans, FedEx vans, sometimes larger trucks. In terms of volume for them,
You want me to go to the next one?
no, it's on this map here. Let's see. Approximately UPS, approximately 2 times a day. FedEx typically 1 time a day. And then larger trucks, when they need to ship larger parts, maybe once a week. So we're not talking about big trucks for them.
Yeah, they usually use a small truck, right?
UPS.
Like UPS and FedEx
FedEx.
box truck.
Yeah.
They use and like you ride like UPS usually drop off in the morning and pick up later on.
Yeah,
And FedEx does pick up and drop off at the same time. But once in a while, I see them with a big truck, but
Yeah.
not usual.
It's not frequent.
Yeah, it's not, yeah.
So would they be able to do Second Street?
Second Street actually is not, if you ever saw Second Street, you ever drove down, you should go there, it's very, really.
But I don't think it would be practical to have one route for some companies and another route for others. If Second Street doesn't work, it doesn't
Yeah.
work. It's also,
I don't think it's proper route for truck in Second Street, that over there, second. Because it's not safe when
right,
they go down or go up, if they have a package in a truck or something, it's gonna fall. Because it's
there's
better.
also the temptation to use State Street. Oh, no, becomes more inviting.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's, I made a point of not suggesting State Street. I made a point of not suggesting State Street. Not only because I live there, but the reality is. Yeah, I'm not convinced that not a lot of these trucks are already using Second Street. I think they already use Second Street
To go down or
to go, both. I mean, there's a house right there on the corner of Mill Street.
Yeah,
And I talked to them and they talk about how horrible the trucks are that come down Second. Which are either going to Harney's, and the other issue is that the Hudson food vendors are gonna be a big operation. And that's gonna be a lot more truck traffic, so to keep them out of the neighborhoods, it would be better.
yeah, I think so too, plus the Second Street, the hill I'm talking about is very steep, there's a stop sign over there, and if they come hard, they're gonna go through the stop sign. You know what I'm talking about? isn't it?
Yeah, and there's also that little there's that little
Bike
bike
route.
island there.
Then it's a dog park right there next to it, so I don't think that we should do Second Street already truck.
So conversely, then you're shipping all trucks through where Kite's Nest is, which is also
Also,
not
that's-
ideal.
Yeah.
So it's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody lives there. That's one issue.
I think another thing that we saw were a couple of trucks getting stuck in corners. There was the picture that ended up on Carroll's that was coming off Second onto Union, was it?
And there was one
And they
in
couldn't-
Robinson Street.
They couldn't make the corner, and then for some reason, multiple trucks have gone up State, turned on the Fifth, and then tried to go onto Columbia, and two different trucks got stuck there around in a short period of time.
And it's very weird.
So I think this issue is it's the only way. It's the only way to not, for a big truck to not get stuck
Yeah.
on a turn.
Only in the city, we have actually two of the big street, like Union Street and Columbia Street. The wider one, except that everything is like skinny, like Union Street, Allen Street, and all of them is two-car can pass, and no way truck can make it through there, but I see a lot of truck go through there, they block the whole road,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Donna, do you think there's any way that these companies would advise their truckers?
So the production manager I talked to at Hardy and Sons, he said, I asked him if the truckers have provided any comments about any issues and coming through Hudson, and he said yes, and that they have difficulty and sometimes they get off track. And I said, how do they usually come and go to your facility? And he said they should all use the truck route. He described it.
You described it as what you have here.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he said, and whenever they're leaving the facility, he tells them, this is where you need to go. So but I think it's more getting there where there could be issues where they get messed up by GPS perhaps. I don't know if GPS has issues that need to be addressed.
Yeah, I can envision a truck leaving Hardy and they're headed, say, east or north. It was, oh, well, I'll take Second and and turn on State or I'll turn, just looking at the map.
Yeah.
It's just in a more natural way, and you're also faced straight up, right,
Yeah.
straight up.
Mhm.
Because as I said, I saw that one of the trucks that was stuck at Fifth in Columbia. And somebody said, yeah, he turned at the library, he came upstate, I don't know where he originated. Came upstate, turned right on Fifth. Who makes that decision?
When you talk to them about their Millerton operation, what do they do down there? You know?
That's where they're, I don't know, manufacturing and, I mean, they do everything except bottling, I guess.
Too bad
It's a
they just
huge
don't do it
operation.
all there.
Yes, huge, 90,000 square feet.
I think Hudson has encouraged. This area is, as manufacturing. Right, I mean, these are things that I think Hudson's plan has wants them there.
There was them there.
Is it possible to explore having a new road, like a bypass road created down in this area to accommodate?
That's what I said at the last
I don't know
meeting.
what's down there.
There's no bypass road from down there. There's nothing, that's the only one.
Could they create, could something be made?
Nah, I don't think so.
I think you'd have to walk it and really know.
No, behind the, Hardy, it's like, if you walk through it, you get high school.
High school, the conservation
Yeah,
area.
conservation area.
This works, they just do it. Right, doesn't this work? These drawings? What's wrong with these maps? They're okay, they just have to do it. They have to go to Columbia Street. If we wanna not have them go past Kites, that's a whole other thing.
No, if they use that road, then they have to go through Kite Nest.
Yeah, these maps seem to show the way they should go. We don't have it.
Can I go to the second one now?
So, okay, so we talked about Harding and Sons. Oh, Harding and Sons only distribute Monday through Thursdays, by the way, so just 4 days a week. They don't distribute on Fridays. Okay, and then we talked about EA Morse, 5 Dock Street, they're no longer there. That address was taken over by Craft Tech. Craft Tech, they're normally using UPS primarily, FedEx, and then occasionally larger trucks, but the volume is low. And then, of course, there's the water treatment plant down there. And we know from the report that we got from DPW that in 2021, average loads per day were 9, 260 days a year for that year. And those are class 6 trucks, so those are smaller trucks.
Yeah, that's also seasonal.
Pardon me,
It's also seasonal.
seasonal.
Yes, there's less activity in winter.
And then lastly, what?
They go down, yeah, they go, I don't know if they use that route. They go across dock. I mean, do they go past Kite's Nest and that?
Yeah, they use that.
Because I see them go down the second.
Yeah, no, they go through Dock Street.
And then, Linda's mentioned Hudson Food Ventures, so formerly Town and
Before we
Country.
leave though,
Yeah, sure.
if you look at this one, okay, so this is where if you were coming from Arnie's, you would be on second,
Right,
and you would just continue on second. And then,
and I don't think we have to do that.
no, but I mean, I think this may be some of the, you know, they're coming up second, they're not actually doing this
I do.
roundabout to avoid it.
I have that feeling, I can't prove it, but.
Yeah, which if you look at it, since they're coming up second, it would be kind of natural to stay on it, right? And then, turn onto, Columbia.
But that's the road we just talked about,
Yeah.
that intense,
That's not a good road, though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
but they do it anyway.
Right, but I'm just saying, when you look at this, you can see why that's happening.
Yeah,
Would signage help? I don't know what kind of
Yeah,
signage
sure.
it is
Yeah,
there now.
We would have to put no truck and you put like steep hill or something, you know.
You can also make it one way.
oh, that's interesting. Which way, down?
Down.
Or no, just an option.
There's a few houses on the end of Dock Street that probably wouldn't want that.
Yeah,
Then they
because
go-
then they have to turn around on the Dock Street again, so I guess. There's like 1 to 3 houses who gonna affect. Oh, actually, what's the road on the other one, next to Second, Sixth Street? A small alley,
Long Alley,
yeah, that's.
Rope Valley's on one side,
It's not like rope on the other, is it?
State Rope Robinson.
Robinson, I'm talking about Robinson, that's a one-way street too,
That's right.
so it's gonna be like problem then, if you make it one-way, yeah.
So, but maybe,
You're right about
but maybe signage. Okay,
The Robinson deals with one way.
Yeah, it's one way,
It's not a house.
it's possible,
Anyway.
people gonna get pissed. Because you have to travel more.
Do you have anything else on that?
yeah, so, to Linda's comment about Hudson Food Ventures, so that was formerly Town and Country. They're a subsidiary of White Toke. They're redeveloping 7 Dock Street as a USDA food manufacturing and warehouse facility for food distribution. Food distribution center serving the capital region and New England. So it sounds like it's pretty big.
It's a big deal.
Now, back in June of 2022, there was a Gossips article that they applied for exemption from mortgage tax and sales tax on construction materials, etc. And I saw elsewhere it appeared that they're currently hiring. They're looking for a food handler, kitchen staff, store clerk. So there's, some activity there to get it working, but it's not in operation yet. Question is, when will it, and how big will it be, and what kind of truck volume will it be? The stuff that we delivering prepared food, I guess so. And what kind of trucks, what size truck? So, I can do some more research and see if I can find out something, if I can get in touch with the companies. What is it called again? Oh, Hudson Food Ventures. So, coming back to the memorandum, Margaret, I wondered if a clarification is needed to the last sentence. Truck traffic on any other streets within the city of Hudson will be permitted only for local delivery on those streets. Should it say only for local delivery or pickup on those streets?
I think I would drop on those streets because if you're making a local delivery, say to, I don't know, to Union Street,
So,
you need to come across on one of the side streets that's not designated as a route, but you're headed from Union Street. That's your only way to get there.
well,
So it's not local, it's not on those streets. Because you may have to take a street other than the one you're going to get to. So I just strike on those streets.
but, okay, Craft Tech doesn't do local, I asked, do they do any local deliveries? And she said no. I asked, Carney and Son, do they do local deliveries? They said no. So they're simply picking up from their facility and delivering elsewhere, national distribution or outside of Hudson, or they're going to Greenport or whatever. So it's not a local delivery, but it's a pickup from the location. So it makes sense that if you have to get there because you're making a delivery, or you have to get there to distribute, I think maybe just adding local delivery or distribution would probably cover it.
Any other thoughts on that? So you need to add pickup, is that? That's right. And that seems come and go.
Margaret, you have a hand up
Sorry,
online. Carol.
Carol, go ahead. You're muted, Carol.
Sorry. This made much more sense when
Carl, your audio is breaking up.
I raised my hand, but I just wanted to add that as a free,
It's breaking over.
Carl,
I'm sorry,
we're having trouble with your
my
audio.
heart,
Can she,
You
can she
could
call in?
type it.
Can she type a comment?
okay, I will send
Yeah, you could type the comment on our chat section.
you an email. But we'll send you.
So Carl, we can just. Okay, so we will update this. I need to add, item 10, which was missing, taking you out to 56. I'll change that language. And, I don't think we need to add this information into, bear in mind, this is all about through traffic. So this does not address, for example, the trucks going down for water treatment. That's not on here, it doesn't need to. And I don't think if we have businesses local down there that need to come from there, to exit us, so they can, it's not a through traffic situation, because they have a destination. Right, so this is really trying to address through traffic. I think we need to remember that. This is trucks coming in from Greenport and exiting. That's what this is.
Yeah.
So, sorry,
This
Were
is
you
on-
talking about the memorandum?
Yeah, this is only for like go through
Yeah.
Hudson.
yes.
It's not delivery or
Yeah,
pickup.
they're entering Hudson on one at one end, they're exiting
Going
at
out.
another end, they're not stopping in between. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
Now, if we stay focused on that, then that'll be fine, and then we need to figure out, working with these businesses as to the best way for them to navigate going around the city.
Yes.
Alright, great. I've touched on the weight limit issue. So, Chief Franklin and I were looking at the code. It's 305/36, and I think this is something that, we need to do some research on. And this will need to go through legal, but it has not been updated since 1969. I don't know. And it says trucks in excess of 2.5 tons are hereby excluded from the following highways. And it's mostly, Fifth Ward, Glenwood, Harry Hard, Oakwood, Parkwood. So this is clearly not what we need it to be. So we need to look at, weights. I did also talk to her about how that could be enforced. They do have the ability to pull truck, they're not CVE, you know, they don't have weight scales, obviously. They do have the ability to pull trucks over and ask for the documentation, because they are required to carry information on their weights. And they could do that, they couldn't confirm it or verify it. But that, once we go down this path, if we go down this path, I think HPD will work with us to come up with an enforcement strategy. Because it was, you know, as we, you know, we're talking, no matter what we do, if there's no enforcement, it's not gonna make any difference. So that is, going to be an ongoing discussion.
So you talked to Chief about that and she agreed with it?
Yeah, she thought it made sense, she wanted to talk to the commissioner. She's very aware of the issues down on Lower Columbia and the second ward. You know, she feels that if the council supports it, you know, we have to bring this forward to the council. And I did bring it to them a couple of months back, and we didn't have, I think, any objections to it. Tom, I know you're on. But I think if we have support and the city wants, that HPD is gonna work with us. Tom, did you have any comment you wanna make?
No, just that there's another business down in that area that seemed to be overlooked.
Which one?
I don't think it's important. The fermentation plant right before Harney.
I'm sorry, is that again?
Fermentation, the fermentation plant.
Uh,
Fermentation.
Okay.
North Second. I don't know what kind of trucks they use or if they use trucks at all, but I just thought you might want to include that.
Do you know the name of the company? I just Googled businesses down there, it didn't come up, but I can.
You know, it wouldn't be that hard to go down and look.
It's on North Second, near the New Harney,
Before you get to Harney.
right before, on the right side. I'll check that out.
Isn't that pork you're talking about?
Hmm?
Yes, pork, then Harney, right?
Yeah.
Nothing middle of it,
Did you say pork?
yeah.
Yeah, it has a funny name,
It is,
fermentation place, I don't remember what it is.
yeah, on Google Maps, it does say Coarc, but I think it is fermentation now.
Oh, it used to be Coarc, yes.
Yeah,
No.
because every couple of years, different company comes out, different. So it
No.
changed.
No, it's been this fermentation group for quite a while now. But anyway,
I'll check it out. Thank you.
Also known as fermentation.
So Margaret, regarding the weight limits, does that require any kind of approval beyond, I mean?
Well, we need to come up with a plan, and that's why it's circulated that way. I'd like members of the committee to provide input. You can do it, I don't expect you to do it tonight, but take a look at this and provide some input on how we would approach weight limits. And I think probably, if we look at what weight, the 53-foot trucks are probably carrying up to 80,000, right? And so if we were to set a weight limit below that, that might help us with the 53-foot trucks. So I think, and the other thing, I'm hoping, and I follow up with DOT, I'm gonna call them again in a few days to remind them that they said they would talk to the person in the other department to have somebody come do an on-site visit. That if they see the streets that we're dealing with and so forth, that, they would see the sense of imposing some kind of weight limits here. And that may be our only way to have some kind of control.
I did some research on the makeup of a road and what it takes to haul. There's different classifications, class 1 through 4. Class 4 being the heaviest with up to 200 trucks a day, which is what we have. And so it talks about the sub base and the number of layers that it takes to be stiff enough to carry that much load. And I would suggest that we hire a civil engineer or a geotechnical engineer or both to talk about the sub, what's under the road and the makeup of the road. That is, my guess is that Columbia Street is built even worse than Green Street because you've seen the part that they recently repaired where it's pushed the sidewalk up. And I would be pretty sure that an investigation by these engineers would say it's not built heavy enough for this truck line or these weights at all. And I think we would do that on all of the truck route roads would be so that we can survey them.
Provide information. When you're saying this is what we want to do, weight limits in your report.
Right, so that if the engineers say this road can handle 30 tons.
Do you have a document there that you can email me?
I sent you just, a little late, not till about
Oh, I wasn't.
between 4 and 5 o'clock.
I was
It's
gonna
just a
be-
generic one from the state of South Carolina, because it was easy to find. But it just gave me the gut feel of, there's no way our roads are built like this.
Right. So, I think maybe in addition to that, on an unrelated topic, I'm dealing with Creighton Manning. On doing the work for us with regard to speed limits. And I know that they have worked very closely with Rob on a number of projects, and that might be our easiest route. I could inquire with them as to whether or not they have somebody on staff who could work with Rob to establish those thresholds on those roads. And that would be maybe a good starting point. We'd obviously need approval from the council to do that.
Right, we still have a budget. Truck committee.
There's still money in the truck study, but we would need authorization from the council to use that.
Sure.
But we can bring that to the council.
Yeah, we can do that.
Get a proposal like you are with the other one.
And you think what we need is a civil engineer?
I would think the civil engineer will look at the road and they might advise you whether they need a geotechnical engineer that looks at soil. Some people just call it a soils engineer, but I think it's called technically a geotech engineer.
Okay. Do we have any new business? So I'm going to continue talking to DOT. I'm gonna revise this memorandum. I will ask Creighton Manning about, what they're, you know, I'll give them the concept, what we're looking for, and whether that's something that they could help us with. And then if we have something we want to bring to the full council, we bring it to the council for permission to move forward with that. And then go down that route.
Question, so on the evaluating the lowering the city-wide speed limit, does that require DOT approval or state approval?
No, that's going through the legal committee, and there is a process. And, I'm bringing a proposal to legal tomorrow night, which will go to the full council next week, to the informal, you know, do the form. But there is a process whereby you work with a, traffic engineer. And Creighton Manning has done this in a couple of localities. And there are other companies that have done it as well, so there is a fairly straightforward process with that. That's going through legal,
Through the legal committee?
yes,
Okay, okay, great,
because it's not really about trucks, it's about the speed limit throughout the city.
yeah.
Was it Tivoli did it, right?
Excuse me?
Tivoli was the one that they had done recently, which is not a city.
Yes, I
but-
think so, yes, I think so, and then the other, individual that I contacted, I think he had done something, north of us, like, I don't recall, but when I talked to Creighton Manning, they were very, and they both, you know, described a very similar process. But Creighton Manning has immediate knowledge of all of our streets.
Which one are we talking about? Which one reducing the speed, which road?
Sorry?
Which
All of
one?
them.
Citywide,
Citywide. The best way to go, the
The
best
thing
way to go is
is, I
citywide.
mean, I don't know, is there's a, I mean, DOT is involved, I mean, regulation for like truck route or anything?
No, it has nothing to do with that. So about a year or so ago, a little more. It used to be that if you wanted your speed limit in the municipality to be below 30, you had to go through a very involved process to do that.
Right, I
And it
remember.
changed to 25 miles an hour.
Yeah,
There's now a fairly straightforward mechanism for reducing the speed limit in the entire municipality to 25. And then you make exceptions, obviously, for school districts and so forth. I've looked at a number, but it's going through the legal committee. I'll bring it to informal next week so that you can see everything else.
okay.
so that would probably deter truckers from.
It may or may not. That's not its goal. Its goal is increased safety.
Yeah,
The preferable way to do it is, we have a couple of linear reduced speed limits right now, Union is one of them. The problem with you don't need special approval for that. The problem with that is the cost of signage, and if you have inconsistency within the municipality, people are confused about what the speed limit is on this street versus that street. So it's much better to have a citywide approach.
How's it working out on Union? Does anybody know?
I live on Union.
How's it going?
I don't say it because
It's impossible to.
I don't know.
Union.
No, up there.
You have to pull over.
You can definitely speed.
Really?
Yes, because we don't have parking on both sides.
Oh, it's wider.
yeah, after Fourth Street, there's a double
Yeah,
side.
but once you get above Fourth, it's.
Then it's
yeah.
double side, or
Hey, you can do 40 miles, no problem.
So
And you
how's
can
it
see-
work?
you can see
Well,
people
but
coming.
when it first started, when I was looking at this, I thought, well, these these boxes are short, let me monitor what I'm actually driving, would 25 be reasonable? And I was never going up 25, but the first few weeks this was in place, I was going down Union, waiting to turn left onto 6th. And time after time, impatient people behind me, overtaking me, ignoring the fact that I have my turn signal on, so it actually was more dangerous. Because they were, they had somebody driving the speed limit, even the fact that I wanted to turn on 6th didn't matter.
So I think in general, it's the attitude of the whole city.
Yeah.
If you go too slow, then they go around you.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, that was my experience. But I
And
think
the
it's
other
okay.
issue is that going the wrong way on the streets is even more interesting.
Yes, that's pretty common.
That is
Yeah.
very common.
People
It's
that,
very common out there.
Say it gets changed to 25 for the whole city, how does it get signed? Is it when you enter the city, it says you are?
Well, we have
usually
to work, we
that
have to
way.
work through that. And I would prefer to leave that to discussion to legal committee
Yeah,
and to the council, but in general, what you do is you have signage out just as we have now, where it's 30 miles an hour. That says that as you're entering the city,
right,
and we don't have signs all over the place.
right,
That's the huge advantage of doing,
it overall.
steel.
Yeah.
But you see, if it's 25 throughout, like, if I've got somebody who thinks it's 30 and I'm poking around at 20, they're gonna be impatient. But if it says 25 and it's 25 everywhere, that might not happen.
It adds seconds to a trip. There's no trip in Hudson more than a mile,
No,
and it adds literally seconds.
but also it's really difficult, you have blocks that are, 2 or 3 blocks long. How do you get from 0, and there's stop signs everywhere, traffic lights. How do you get from 0 to 25 on that block anyway? Anyway, but that's kind of tangential, but that is also going on in a different committee.
So Margaret, were you gonna review briefly the mitigation ideas? You were gonna.
Oh, yeah, sure. Did you get any messages from Carol?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so, the other thing I sent out, just to remind us all where we are. Let's see if I have it here. Yes, we have actually made some progress on some of these issues. We've requested, item on the left, we requested something from DOT, whether we'll see what happens there. And the greater than 48 inch, 48 foot, I don't think we're going to be approved for that. Through legal, we are working on reducing the speed limit, 25. And an item of, eliminating the state on US 9 RIP, that was part of the DOT, request. Anything relating to bypass or, going around that, we're just going to have to try to engage DD and, state level people and other municipalities. These are not things that we can do on our own. So we have made some progress there.
So what number was that, Margaret?
Excuse me,
What number was that you were just referring to?
on the left-hand side, number 2.
Number 2, okay.
In terms of enforcement, I feel that we will have support from HPD in terms of doing some enforcement, targeted enforcement, be it on weight limits or on speed, whatever, or even on being on the correct road. Because we have a problem at the moment where trucks are going down Glenwood to get around the whole mess in the center of town. So that's something that I brought to their attention today as well. Bring my mom into chief, that we're doing that, our conversation's going to form once we've spoken to the commissioner. We can talk about traffic lights, I'm not sure that they would be that advantageous, but we can talk about that perhaps at a future meeting. The quality of paving, this is, what you're bringing up, Jason, evaluating what the quality of the paving is and whether it can support what's on it. And then, maybe talking with Rob to see if there are any other opportunities for funding. Donna has begun discussions with some of the truck companies, particularly the ones down by the riverfront. We've not done anything with regard to Columbia Memorial, that's not on my immediate horizon. If anyone wants to pick that up and go run with it, that's fine. That's not, something I'm pursuing right now. And then with regard to a petition, I think we haven't done anything with that. I don't know how the committee feels about doing that, doing a petition. I'm not sure right now what it would help us with. I'm kind of leaning towards if we try to do a petition now with everything that's going on with the planning board, that it would be, people would confuse the two issues, and that it probably would not be very successful. That will be better to wait until that's over and then see if we need to pursue that. But my instinct is right now, this is not the right time. I'm open to whatever other committee members think. Linda,
I'm petitioned out.
go on. Your petition that is right. Okay, all right, so we'll stop that now.
I think it makes
Yeah.
sense.
But I think we are making some progress in
Yeah.
things. You know, my biggest concern right now is that actually, I don't think it would be very easy to get the message across that this is not about corruption. This is about,
Yeah, I think that until that's settled.
we have, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And we'll see where we are on that side.
Okay, what about pedestrian crosswalk?
On the truck routes, well, I think we get the truck route defined and then we can talk about crosswalks.
Okay.
Because right now,
I think
although in
the
our
first
heads,
thing
in our minds,
Yeah.
there's a truck route. But according to the 1976 memorandum, it's pretty much any street in the city. So we need to fix that first and then we can talk about crosswalks.
I also recently traveled by car to Canada, and I went through lots of little cities. I saw that most of them have very similar truck issues.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was like really bad. But I also noticed, someone brought up a while back, the striping of the streets. And I don't know, I mean, I'm sure that's an expensive ordeal, but I think it would be helpful.
I think if a street is wide enough to have trucks going in both directions, it's wide
Yeah.
enough to have.
I mean, maybe you start in that way,
Yeah.
but it, you know, it also makes a city look like it cares. You know, it's a funny thing. It just looks like, oh, yeah, we care for the safety of people. Like, it just looks finished. I mean, maybe it's the graphic designer in me. I just like all of a sudden, that's all I could see. So I think.
I agree with you completely, and I think it keeps people in their lane. One of the reasons they can go so fast down Green Street is they go wherever they want.
Yeah,
On that, particularly on that curve.
Yes, and they took that striping from the new intersection and they went almost to the curb. It would have made a huge difference if they went around that curve to slow people down.
Yeah, who did that?
I think it was an afterthought after people started turning left.
No, but who did those stripes? It wasn't the city.
Yes, it was.
Was it?
Yes,
So
But
that's
that's
where I have to
because-
go a little
yeah.
further.
yeah, because, well, they started with a shorter piece, then they extended it some more because the turn at Stewart's, when we were all supposed to be in one lane and because we were so used to being in two lanes, it was a disaster, so that's why they put that in.
Is that finished now?
We could ask them to add more.
No, but I mean, is that whole intersection? done?
Yes,
I don't think it makes much difference. I mean, I thought there was gonna be more help for the pedestrians to get across there. Anyway, that's another discussion.
yeah, there is a pedestrian crossing.
I know, but you still have to run like crazy to get across.
I
Anyway,
have one more thought about painting on pavement, different, specific to Worth Avenue. Maybe you've seen a lot of times when you're coming into a slow down zone, they draw white lines across the road. Or, looks like a rumble strip. I think a rumble strip would be too much noise, but as they come to the top of Worth Avenue, like a small stripe, a bigger stripe, and a bigger stripe. You know what I mean? You've seen those? I think that would be helpful for Worth Avenue. And possibly a hill sign with a stop sign at the bottom. And I guess most of the truckers do this more than once, but if you're coming from out of town, and you knew you were headed down a hill with a heavy load, and the stop sign right at the bottom, similar to what you said on Second,
Yeah.
they need to, that might alert them to slow down a little sooner. I don't know if they'd slow down before Tom's house, but get them started. And it's easy. I think.
So do we have any new business? Maybe you want to bring anything else up? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Text or,
Oh. Okay.
No, that's,
Well,
caption.
oh, well, so far I can't read it. Oh, it is.
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second though?
Yes.
So we're adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.